Welcome everyone, welcome to another episode of DM Talks, a podcast that aims to promote well-being and healing, whether that be physically, mentally or spiritually. Ultimately, we just want to be seen in our entirety, and this podcast hopes to show listeners how multifaceted they are. We're all the centre of our own universe, so why don't we do more to better our own existence? Woo, jazz hands, yes. Hello everyone, this is the first episode of 2012. No, oh my goodness, I said it again. That's so funny. 2021, actually. It's the new age of Aquarius. We are currently in Mercury retrograde, but potentially when this episode comes out, we might be out of it. And I am feeling light. I'm feeling happy. I'm really, really excited to be joined by an ethereal creature. I'm so excited to honestly talk to you because our DMC was amazing, so I know this episode is going to be 10/10, and yeah, I just want to welcome to the virtual stage Danielle. Woo!
Hey, thank you so much for inviting me. It's really good to be here.
How are we?
I'm really excited for what's going to come up. Honestly, I'm feeling really good. Like I feel like, yeah, in this moment in time, I feel really relaxed. I feel quite like excited. It's titillated, the word. I like to Google words when I've said them that I don't use often and just be like,
I do that often.
But I feel like that would be the word if it's the right context.
No, honestly, like I do that so often. Like there's amount of times where I'll say something on this podcast, but then I've said it wrong and I'm like, you know what, you leave that in there, I'll say it right next week.
It sounds like the word that it feels like is the right word for what I feel right now.
No.
Is this kind of this is the motion.
So. Yeah, no, it's very like energetic, isn't it? It's like all the atoms are moving. Yeah. It's like but I'm really excited for this episode. We had a lovely DMC. We had a lovely chat about the world, about reflection, and about sort of choosing ourselves. But actually no, before I get into the whole episode and talk about, you know, energy, root chakras, you know, all that good stuff, please could you tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do and how you want to, I guess, what do you want to bring to this episode today? What do you want to bring to our energy source?
Okay, yeah, I like it. It's a big questions there, but I'll see if I can answer.
Sorry.
I guess I could start with my name, which is, I should know, right?
Yes.
So my name is Danielle. I like to say my full name. I say full name. I like to say my full names that I'm comfortable sharing in public. There's some names that I hold that I don't like sharing in public, but I like to address myself fully and bring myself into the space.
Amazing.
So my name is Danielle Dizza Osajivbi Williams. What? And Danielle meaning God is my judge, and Dizza is my self-given name, divine, zigzag zig, Allah, arm, leg, arm, head. For me, that's very representative of my persona when I'm going to name what the work that I do as kind of relating to spirituality, relating to knowledge, wisdom, understanding, relating to connection of the self, so moving from knowledge and wisdom to understanding, being of self, ourself as divine beings, and bringing that connection and understanding to everyone that I interact with of their own divinity within and their own knowledge of self. I do this through the work that I do in terms of teaching, guiding, facilitation, but also and counselling. I forgot to mention that big bit. I'm an integrative counsellor and psychotherapist, and I'm also a movement artist, so I like to bring that in through kind of like dancing as well, and facilitating workshops around movement meditation, getting people in touch with their body as this vessel that is holding them, that provides a lot of information that if you're in conversation with can help you to move through life in hopefully with more wellness and inner peace.
Amazing. That was honestly like your name is beautiful, by the way. And I'm so excited to learn more about you. Like I think like I feel like I'm such an infectious, I always say this, infectious energy warning. Like if you see my Instagram, it'll be infectious energy warning. It's like in your face, quite loud, quite forward, quite energetic, as they say. But you make me like You remind me, as you said, a movement artist. You remind me of how much I like to dance and how much I like to move. And it's funny because, like, if you see these visuals today, I think both of us have just been like moving our hands or like preaching or like, I don't know, we're just doing something with our bodies because we're just we're literally feeling it through spirit, and I love that. I should probably put a disclaimer on this episode. We've had so many technological differences or problems that if you watch the visuals today, you're going to see me here with 2 laptops. Just mind your business and keep on listening or keep on watching. You know, like, it is what it is. Recording from home. So I thought I should just let you guys know. No, I'm actually really, really looking forward to understanding more stuff about the root chakra today and understanding how we can be nicer to our bodies and therefore to our spirits, because we're all spiritual beings having a physical experience. And I think the more that I've like sort of learned that concept, the more that I can see my body as the temple that it is, and I kind of want to like show that light to others, you know. And I think that's why it's just so great to have you on a podcast, because we're doing that in sort of an accessible format that anyone can listen to. So I'm really happy.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. And yeah, when you initially, so like, yeah, when we talk about root chakra, I guess for me it's not my lineage of practice. I want to acknowledge that first going forward, that it's not like my lineage of practice. I don't have expertise in it, and the way that I've actually come through understanding of chakras has been somewhat diluted and through kind of an appropriative, like, new age spiritual lens. I want to acknowledge that, but also respect that it has helped me as well. I kind of want to name those complexities and those conflicting energies as they sit with me, like when I do talk about chakra work, because I do openly talk about like my chakras and yoga and things like that, but I also hold that feeling of, oh gosh, should I be talking about this? I didn't. But
no, I get that.
At the end of the day, it is what it is. This is the context. I just want to name that context from myself, my context of how I sit with it and feel with it, and that my knowledge of it, I don't feel is adequate, but I do work with it with the knowledge and things that I do have. Because, for example, like you're talking about root chakra, but actually sacral has been coming to me quite a lot. That's been the space that I've been wanting to really work with. I actually ordered some waist beads recently with specific crystals for the sacral chakra.
Beautiful.
And yeah, I feel like it's connected, the kind of root and the sacral, in terms of some of the energies. I feel like so if I understand root chakra, for me that's about like our grounding, right? It's about kind of like
security,
security, what do we feel stable in, what do we feel resourced in, but also lineage is what I also think about when I think about the roots. It's like what kind of is like I think of ancestors as roots.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So even in dances, in traditional African dances, especially those that have been upheld in the Caribbean, a lot of the work is kind of like in connection with waking up the ground, believing that the ancestors are channeled from the ground. So like when you do kind of like kumina or dinky mini, things like that, a lot of it is kind of like, there's the hip movement, which again actually also that's the root area, right? It's like all that movement is all kind of root area. And then also like the feet movement as well, like tapping into the ground and really kind of waking it up. So yeah, that's how I think about root chakra energy and rootedness and work.
Honestly, like
working with the land as well, working with like
working
the
with the
resources
elements
that are available to us and the elements, to bring about what we need to feel safe, secure and stable. And again, that's like you said about working with the elements, like my movement meditations, the elemental movement meditations is literally like building that awareness, like about how we can make use of what we have around us to support our liberty, to support our wellness.
Honestly, like everything that you just said, yes. I love it because it just shows us, like me and you, like we're interested in this energy source, and I'm hoping that this will prompt other people's education or perspective or just how they sort of integrate this information into their lives. And yeah, I think that's all that we can ask for, really. But without further ado, I want to take it to our first segment. And the first segment is called The Divine. And The Divine is where we shine a light on a good thing. And this week, what I want to nominate for The Divine are sound bowls, right? So,
what's it called?
Sound bowls. Like, you know, like Ooh. Sound bowls, like tuning bowls.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think within spirituality, or even within like energy releasing work, there's so many different ways of us to heal. Like, people can use art therapy, people can go to counselling, people can go, like, there's so many different things that you can do in your intimate space at home or in an external space, right? But sound vibrations and sound healing has been really comforting me over the past month. I think I've just gone on YouTube and found some really good, like, lower chakra sound tuning bowls I've just been listening to, and I'll have that in the background whilst I'm like tidying up or cleaning or like doing whatever. Like, it's actually quite nice because sometimes I'll have it whilst I'm doing like a physical cleaning activity, so it feels like I'm releasing, clearing this dirt, this space, and filling it with some new energy. And I find it really, really comforting to listen to, but also a really accessible thing that everyone can do. So I'm going to nominate those sound bowls. I've got some great YouTube videos that I can put in the link as well, so that's my nomination. Do you have one? I saw you moving your hand.
I was gifted one, actually. Again, this is another thing that I feel really complex about, but I use it for my wellness. I'm just like, I feel like I don't have a right to it, but I was gifted, and I kind of like, I love working with it, and it's been helping me, because I believe this is a throat chakra one, and it's been helping me work more with my voice, and I start doing like kind of like my own humming, chanting with it that just feels authentic to me, and I do feel a difference. I actually did it before the session, just went around with it and just kind of like was doing my humming to open up my voice, because I knew I would be using my voice today as a vessel, and I wanted it to be well tuned.
Honestly, like that, it's so fitting, isn't it? It just shows you how everything's connected. I really, really appreciate those bowls, and hopefully I'll be able to treat myself to one soon, because it's my birthday coming up.
It's so powerful, yes.
Honestly, what would you like to nominate for The Divine?
Oh, when you were talking about bowls, I was thinking, what would I nominate as a divine? And I think, for me, the theme of like forgiveness has been coming up a lot, and I guess it's more as a reflective process. And so there's two practices that I've been engaging with as a way to do that. And one is the Hawaiian prayer, and I don't want to slaughter the pronunciation too much, but I believe it's called Ho'oponopono, prayer of forgiveness.
Okay.
And there's also the loving kindness meditation practice.
Yes. I've heard of the latter.
So the forgiveness prayer, Ho'oponopono, is, now I'm thinking of it, I'm like, I'm not sure I've got the order right, but it's basically I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And it's a prayer that you can say to the earth. The first time I came across this prayer, actually, I went to 5 Rhythms, ecstatic dance practice, and that day I felt like I literally astral projected there. Like, I felt like I was supposed to go there. I was like, it was around the time my nan passed, and I was off work, I was just with my friend, and I was saying to her, I think I should go today. But then I could also hear this voice of doubt, like, I'm not sure. But then as soon as I felt that doubt creep in, I literally felt myself viscerally, like, energetically travel there. And I just felt the energy of being there, and I knew, okay, I'm gonna go. And when I went, it was exactly that feeling that I felt in the morning when I was feeling like, okay, you need to go there. So that day, when you go to a 5 Rhythms practice, they tend to have an altar set up that kind of supports with the intention of the practice. And it was around the time, so my nan also passed around the time of the fires in the Amazon. When there was a kind of massive, and there was a kind of like global awareness of it happening, this massive fire. So there was kind of, I was grieving on 2 levels. I felt like I was grieving the earth, and grieving my grandma. And so they had the prayer to the earth at that point, and that prayer as a forgiveness prayer was also important for me because I also had a complex relationship with my grandma, actually, if I'm really honest. It was filled with love, but it was also filled with a lot of hurt, and so also going to the root chakra, and also for me connected to the sacral chakra there's a lot of kind of childhood wounds and baggage and experiences that I'm still to unpack, actually, and grief is the first kind of portal into being able to process those feelings and those things and being really honest about it, and how much is still left to do. But yeah, kind of those practices around forgiveness for self, for earth, and also for those who did what they had available to them with the tools they had available, who have caused harm, and the ways that I also have responded in a response to feeling harmed. It's kind of building that awareness that no one is perfect, and we all try the best that we can, and it kind of their practices of building compassion, and then going again to loving kindness. It's also about that, how do I build compassion for myself and others? And the first time I actually heard the loving kindness practice was on I had the Liberate app, and I really like that app, but I don't want to say I don't like paying for it. When I feel more resourced to pay for it, then I probably will pay for it.
No, but again. I get it, because it's like if you find an app, you like it, you want to use it, and you want to because you use your phone every day, so I can use this app every day. That's how I see it. But then also you see it as like an add-on to your money, like that's not a necessity. Like you could be doing something, so then it's a weird cycle with apps. I understand what you mean.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I found unfortunate about that app is that you become attached to one particular meditation, or there's a few that you favourite, and then all of a sudden those favourited ones are the ones that are locked because you have to be subscribed to access them. And that loving kindness one was one of those ones, and it showed me a lot. But I just use it in my own way now when I do prayers in the morning, and it's really useful because the way you do that practice in the meditation itself is you go through it a few times, just like may I be happy and healthy, may I be free from inner and outer danger, may I be filled with loving kindness, and may I love and accept myself just as I am. And you do that a few times, and then you're guided to imagine different people. So first yourself, and then you're a great teacher. But when I picture a teacher, I picture someone maybe like a challenging teacher. So someone who teaches me lessons I don't want to see. So it could be someone that I'm in conflict with for whatever reason. And then you picture someone that when you see them, you feel their unconditional love.
Yes.
I often pick like one of my younger siblings. When I see children, I see like this love and acceptance and love beaming out of them towards me. And then you pick a stranger, someone that like maybe you've seen them, maybe it's like a shopkeeper down the street, or a stranger that you bump into on your road, or just someone's face that you saw once in your life, and then I think that's it, and then you just go back to the practice again.
And it's like you repeat it because you've got like your love varying at different stages with it's like my love is infinite and I can give it to you, but it's like you've got different people that resemble different stages of your relationships or love or yourself in relationships, and how you communicate that love and intention to others. So that's really, really powerful that it's worked for you, and I'm happy that like you've been able to brace these techniques.
Yeah, and I think they're especially important in times of deeper reflection or shadow work, I would say. So when there's a deeper period of introspection happening, if you feel like you're in a review, especially a time like this, Mercury retrograde, where old relationships, old dynamics that are maybe dying out or that are being put forward for review, do I want to continue maneuvering like this in relationship, coming up again, then that often calls in for me time to do those deeper practices of like forgiveness meditations or loving kindness, but with the extra visual guide as opposed to where I would normally just do it and just say it as an affirmation in a daily practice. And I think, it's really important in those moments, because I think when we're doing that kind of deep introspective work, then compassion for ourselves, but also for others, can be far and few between. It can kind of start to really be strained, and it kind of does help you bring back to your heart space, at least for myself.
No, I love that. No, that's such a lovely nomination for the Divine. Thank you. And you gave us two nominations, so
oh yeah,
brilliant.
Rebel.
No, I love it. It's New Age of Aquarius, honey. Tell them. Amazing. Well, that means that it's next up for our next segment. Hi guys, welcome to Decoding the Messes. This is the part of the show where we unpack something that we consider mess, whether that be online or offline. And today we're talking about our lowest chakras, and that would be the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus. I particularly want to talk about root just because that's something that I've been learning about more so recently. I was actually listening to the Highest Self podcast by Sahara Rose, and it's quite funny because she associated the root chakra, or she associated an unhealthy root chakra with the pandemic. She said that that's why you saw so many people in a big rush to buy toilet paper. They don't feel safe. And I find that really fitting, because the root chakra is to do with stability, it's to do with survival, it's to do with your fight or flight response. And I find it like, well, we're in a pandemic, we don't really feel safe in our bodies, or we are cautious about the vulnerabilities to our bodies because it is a virus. And I think that kind of relates to how we sort of project our fears and project our worries onto the world, because if we see our root chakra as like the bottom of our spine, that's our base, right? If I'm not comforted in my base, if I feel like my base is shaky or my foundation is tainted or disrupted, it's going to influence all things upwards, or it's going to influence how I portray or how I balance the other chakras. Like, what do you think of that?
Yeah, the first thing that's coming to me is embodiment is so real. And that's why, like, even though I trained in like talking therapy, like psychotherapy and counselling, the embodiment stuff is so important to me, and the somatic work and things like that, because things manifest in behaviour, and therapy does talk about that. It does talk about even CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy. It's like from a thought, it's like a behaviour and action and whatever from a situation, right? And so that can very easily be applied, what you're talking about with the toilet the toilet paper, as a very real manifestation, embodied manifestation of instability and insecurity with ourselves and fear. And so I think it's really interesting work. And yeah, I think about the root a lot in terms of like grounding work, and what would it mean for everyone to feel really grounded? Like what does security and stability mean to us on an individual personal level, but also as a collective level? Because I think collectively there is so much insecurity, instability in our foundations, in how we understand ourselves, in how we understand. So many people are displaced from their ancestry. They've lost and severed connections to ancestry, and a lot of people are working hard to reclaim that, and it's like culture wide. And even, you know, globalization is a very popular thing, and it has blessings that have come with it, but it also has caused severings of many like dying languages and things like that. And that is part of root, you know, the security that we have in knowing where we've come from. There's something also coming to me about I was listening to Iafan Layo's one of her Ori meditations. This is someone I follow on Instagram who is like amazing PhD, like so doctoral person, intellectual, also Orisha of Iya priestess of Obatala, And one of the things that they were saying about destiny and Ori being higher self, if you subscribe to this faith system of Ifa, and destiny being a really important part of that, understanding who you are, your destiny, what you're here to do on this earth. She was explaining that you have more than one destiny. You have a personal destiny, you have a ancestral destiny, and you have a collective destiny. So that collective being community, the community that you feel that is tied to you. You know, everyone has community or communities, plural, that they feel they have a responsibility to, or that they are accounted to and accounted by, right? And I think of that in terms of that being root, you know, the places that you come from, the people that you feel connected to. That's how we find safety as well, as in belonging, right? We feel safety and security if we feel that family is good, that we feel that we've got our basic needs met. That like, even if you go to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's like you've got the basic needs like food, shelter, physiological things sorted out. And then at the top, you've got your actualization, which is about self. And I really find that connected in all kind of different thought patterns, whether it be kind of like Western psychology and science now backing it. And kind of thinking about root chakra as a kind of ancient healing system and knowledge, indigenous knowledge. And even if it would explain it more in like kind of like destiny and alignment. Like, are we in alignment as society? Probably not. You just talked about that, right? If your base is not sorted, then how is the upwards thing going to be in alignment? If that is kind of shaky, it's like if you were looking at a tree, if the roots are kind of tilted to the side, then the tree is also going to grow that way. And maybe it can grow and adjust and adapt, but maybe it then impedes on other trees in the network as well, instead of actually being able to flourish and allow other trees to flourish in the space that is around it, you know?
I love that analogy. That was brilliant. It's so good. You said something earlier about sort of the semantic work, right? How does that look like to a person who goes to therapy? So if I'm trying to sort of, well, yeah, I'll let you answer that question.
You said the somatic work specifically?
Yeah.
So with the somatic work, that's something that I want to delve into even further now that I've qualified, because I qualified specifically around talking therapy, and the closest that we got to somatics was focusing as a technique of person-centered.
Okay.
So that was a derivative of person-centered humanistic counselling that also looked at like, we need to get in touch with the body, we need to get in touch with sensation. Somatic work, as I understand it, and where I want to get deeper into it, is awareness of the kind of neuroscience and understanding. It's very trauma-informed and aware of the fact that a lot of trauma happens and occurs non-verbally. So it happens not on the left hemisphere but in the right hemisphere, which is where creativity takes place. It's not verbal, it's where body language takes place, movement, emotion, all that stuff, right? So it's not easy to translate to the left side, it's not easy to be communicated. And so how that manifests in my work with clients is taking awareness of not only my visceral response and reactions to what is occurring, what I'm hearing. Do I feel paralyzed in what you're saying? Do I feel, is my visceral response that I'm feeling and noticing kind of like I'm really upright in my chair, that I feel quite on edge? Am I noticing that I'm irritable? Am I noticing that I'm really tired, that I'm wanting to pass out? Am I falling asleep almost? Am I fighting sleep? That's how I work somatically, and that leads into energy work. I'm very aware that I am a sensitive channel. Some people call it empath. I don't really relate to that. Some people call it highly sensitive person. I can relate to that. There's also, I've been getting into different systems of knowledge and frameworks of understanding it, but eventually they will say the same thing, which is that some people are very open channels and they pick up easily the presence of other. And so I work somatically in that way, using that as a gift to work with the client and what is being presenting by speaking on it. So checking my experience and if that is relating to their experience. So I'm noticing, when you say that, I'm noticing this response in myself. of being frozen. But then, having said that, we're also told and advised, and it's very important to not bring ourselves in too much. So I also do that tentatively once I've built up a relationship to be able to do that. Or I use that information without saying directly that that's happening. So I might say that I might relate a word based on how I'm feeling. It's like if instead of saying the word that they were saying, I might say frozen or something, and then see how they respond to that, like if that's how they identify with or the word that's coming to me is frozen, and that word might come through a visceral feeling of me feeling frozen.
Yes.
But also going back to somatics, also just on a really basic level, watching and observing their body language.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't feel frozen, but I can see the way that they're sitting.
Yes.
Is kind of like really sharp, and so I'm very like I use that space because I think when you are quite open and receptive in big crowds and things, in trying to pick up all the channel of information amongst a lot of people can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
But when you actually have the opportunity to channel it directly one-to-one, it's actually really easy to just tap in and to be present with that person and to feel the space, to feel into yourself, to root into yourself, and to have energetic boundaries to know what's yours and what isn't. And so, and it makes it easier to work with and check in with your reality as well, to check in and name your observations. I'm noticing that you do this. I'm noticing that you're doing this right now. When you said that, but your body was doing this. Could you tell me a bit more about that? What was happening there? Sometimes it's nothing, or sometimes they're not comfortable to say yet.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes time of trust building and things for them to say, actually, yeah, that dissonance between my body and what I was saying is something. So that is another way. Another thing that I think I work somatically with is just kind of the techniques that I use. So visualization, guided meditations. Sometimes I do them with actual body movement.
Yeah.
So I've had a few sessions where to end, if it's felt very heavy, then I've said, let's do a embodied exercise that kind of represents leaving some of this energy here in this space. So it could be like kind of pulling from the ground and then stretching upwards and then dumping it and just kind of like throwing it in the room.
Do you have videos of this on your Instagram? Or similar things?
Oh, that's... yeah, kind of. That's my movement meditation.
Oh,
so
amazing! Yes.
The element. So, like, if you kind of for the element of air, for example, I'm kind of like, what do I symbolize when I think of air? I think about symbol. I think about freedom. I think about communication, but I also think about birds. I love birds. I have an affinity for birds in the sense of I feel very connected to birds as a spiritual guide. And so when I'm doing the air meditation to help me if I'm really feeling maybe anxious, because also breath is also the lungs, so I think of air and I think of the lungs as well. But sometimes stillness in meditation doesn't work. It doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel safe for clients, and even in my personal experience it doesn't always feel safe. And I do like to be restless sometimes, and it's like, how do I
that's
channel that
okay.
energy and still find how can I channel that energy, right? And so that's where kind of like embodied meditation and movement meditation has been a thing that has been forming for me that I'm really interested in.
But I love that.
Like, how do I bring myself into the work I do? Yeah, so it would be just kind of like, okay, so when I'm breathing, I can visualize my breath rising, but instead of just imagining it in my mind's eye, I could actually just do it with my body.
Yes.
So I could actually just lift up my hands and breathe in, and then bring the air back down and just exhale. And I think it's a really useful tool if you just feel like when you hold a lot of energy in the body and just being still is not working. It's like, I'm still feeling it. I still feel very restless. It's like, okay, what is a comfortable movement that you could do right now that channels and works with the sensation? Because that's what somatic work is as well. It's part of that embodiment. It's like, okay, what is this feeling? How is it manifesting? Because it manifests in behavior one way or another.
Yes.
It manifests internally as well in some of the for some people, I'm not going to say this is a one size fits all, but at least definitely in my experience I identify in this way that sometimes it manifests in very internal processes of some of the kind of like ailments or difficulties that I have sometimes, like kind of like learnt behaviours and responses, and this also corresponds to the chakra as well. So kind of if you read into different chakras points and some of the energy stores, or what can arise when it's imbalanced, you may find, like what you were saying about the toilet roll situation, you might find very real manifestations of how something can be symbolic of that dysregulation, whether it be in
you are a wordsmith,
and how you're communicating.
You are a wordsmith, honestly. Like, all of the things you're talking, I'm just here, like. Honestly, yes.
That's
please.
so funny to hear, because I just feel like I'm coming to hear that and learn that and understand that, because I had an aura reading, and you know what? And she said something about your voice. She said, I don't know if it's that you can sing or what it is, and I was like, I wanted to be a singer when I was a child, but I can tell you now I can't sing. I could probably hum and chant, and that there's probably power in that.
Yeah.
Like if I was to get into spirit, because I speak in tongues and things, so I know there is things with my voice. It may not be singing, at least commercially. I think, where maybe I would have used my voice in ways that would not serve the collective necessarily if I was a singer. But I think, maybe it's coming through in this way, that this is how I'm supposed to use my voice.
But honestly, like you've described so many things with such ease and fluidity. It's made me really digest what you're talking about, especially when you were talking about the restlessness in the body. Like I said before earlier on this episode about this infectious energy warning. Like sometimes it can be a blessing, but sometimes it can be a curse. Like I've got all this like pent up like frustration when I am you know when you feel like you're wired or you're kind of strained and you feel very fidgety. Like I'm one of those people, like ever since I was younger, like tapping my foot whilst being in school, like one of those people. And as I've like sort of grown up, trying to find what's the best way to sort of wind down, what's the best way to sort of fill my own cup, I've realised how movement meditation is like so important. And like I shared my views a couple months ago on I did an episode called Meditate to Elevate, and I spoke on why you would meditate, why you don't meditate, etc. And some people messaged me saying that they don't because of ADHD, and this led me to just research some more things about how can I adapt this practice to accommodate my ADHD. So not like me, well, I mean, I'm not sure yet, I still need to get tested, but I was like just doing more research for the collective, for the audience that I was serving, and it just made me realise how it really is about, again, following your own GPS, adapting the style, adapting the sort of communication for you, so then you can integrate it more into your well-being. Because I think, well, how long have you been like using dance or using movement as a practice to release? I think it's really powerful.
Woof, that's a powerful question in itself. I think probably since a child, if I'm honest. Like I've always been like, when I was young, I wanted to be like a singer, and dancing was part of that. I wanted to be a performing singer, so like I was really obsessed with Aaliyah, and like Aaliyah was like the epitome of like just talent all around. Like, what's it called, triple threat?
Yeah,
she was acting, she was dancing, she was singing, she was doing all of it, and she was doing it well. Like she had an angelic voice, and she could move, like she could really move, and I was really into that. And I grew up in the Caribbean. I grew up in Barbados, and dancing is a big part of the culture there. Like, you know, we would be in PE, we would have like dancing sessions and things like that, so it was always there for me. And when I came back over here, it was actually difficult adjusting, actually, like because I think I'm learning again in my life that I am someone that likes to be in the move. I need a lot of rest and I need a lot of downtime, but I do like to be on the move. I like to be moving. I can be restless if not. And I did kind of retreat when I was back in the UK, but I would kind of be pretending to be in music videos, so I'd be creating routines and stuff, and dance is always something I come back to. Like I used to want to be, after I wanted to be a singer, I wanted to be a dancer and a choreographer.
Hey,
and
same.
Then something kind of shifted, and I was like, yeah, but then something kind of shifted and I lost it. I kind of stopped dancing actively for like a couple years. I was still doing performing arts, but I just kind of like went inside myself a little bit. I kind of lost myself and became an emo, and it felt not cool to be a dancing emo. But then I was still dancing, but like still not actively. And then, but slowly, dance always finds me in one way or another. Oh. Like my first degree ended up like I found a few dancing societies, and I ended up writing about dancing in my dissertation. I did a dissertation on twerking for psychology.
Hey! Oh my god! Wait, no, pause. Real. This is where we have to have cannons, Josh. Like this side, like pew, 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 pew. Tell me about twerking in your dissertation, because like I know you've just met me fairly recently, but honey, when we. Like, my goal is to get Megan Thee Stallion's knees. Like, that's all I want in life, you know? Like, tell me about your dissertation.
I actually want to be a dancehall queen. Like, I want to be a dancing queen. Like, I have a pole as well. Like, I just want to be able to do all the athletic, gymnastic tricks in the world.
That's so linked to sacral chakra again.
Yeah, again, and it's funny because I've been unintentionally trying to heal my sacral chakra without realising it, but then there's some underlying unconscious things that are still there that have been coming out, and it's like the signs have been there. It's like going back to the oracle card you pulled. The sign is there in your face. It's just you've got to follow it, right? Oh. And so I have been. The thing about me and the thing about my relationship with spirit is spirit will always drip and drab things to me, and I just follow the trails, and it doesn't all make sense in one go, and then it starts to make sense, and then there's a point and a crossroads where I get to where it's like, okay, what are you going to do with this information now, because you're being pushed. Sometimes there's a resistance as well, and it's like I'm being pushed. The thing about me and my sacral energy and why I need to heal it, and this goes back to my dissertation about twerking, is in the culture that I grew up in Barbados, and so there's a lot of conflict within self that develops as a result of growing up in a country where you grew up seeing whining and walking up, a dance that has a taboo nature to it because it's seen as a sexualized dance. If you want to name it honestly, okay, yes, it is a representation of that. You can call it a sexualized dance, but it's also so many other things. People
so
say
many
that
things.
It's ancestral work. It's ancestral work and it's sensual work, you know? It's ritual. It's, for me, I have a question that I want to further explore around how much of it is, and I guess this links to the sacral, is it an imbalance of sacral energy, or is it about survival and resistance as a dance? I'm still here, and also rebellion and individuality. This dance, a lot of the root and history of these similar dances around Africa and in the Caribbean were that they were one thing and they evolved into another thing. And the key thing that is between the change and the evolution is colonization and the colonial gaze on those dances, and then what they became as a result. So I was very interested when I was researching it and how much that impacted Black women's perceptions. I specifically was looking at the time, I understand, was cis women, but it's also very gendered. When we talk about dance, it's become a very gendered term in the Western perspective and
yes, very
dance, which is why the gaze on women and in twerking has become such a thing, because men around the Caribbean and around Africa openly embrace whining their waist, shaking their bum. But it has become very gendered. It's become a very gendered notion and idea about what it means to be sexual. And in order to create a sense of, there is definitely an oppressive factor into it. But going back to what I was saying, I feel that within myself, there is a lot of that creative and sacral energy exists, but it's also blocked. There's also like a repressive process of like, you're not supposed to do this is bad.
Yeah.
And so like, because basically I grew up with a mum who very Christian, very traditional, and like if we were at a party, she would come and check to make sure we weren't dancing on anyone. So there's a way that kind of has impacted my expression or blocked my expression of like
Yeah.
how safe I feel to fully let go, because there's a desire for it. There's like, I want to jump into the splits and get into a headstand and shake. Do you know what I mean? But it's also like, no, that's wrong. That's not ladylike or whatever. That's also there. And I'm still kind of like navigating and moving through that. Because actually it's funny, I was recording myself dancing yesterday and I was just freestyling. I was dancing to Scissor, and I was just flowing, but then it was also naturally becoming quite sensual in my movement.
Yeah.
My movement can tend to flow in that way naturally. And the more I was following my internal GPS, I was seeing the movement forming. But I remember watching myself back and being like, even the way I was feeling, and I've seen people record me before, and like one time someone was filming me in pole class and their hand was shaking as they were recording, and I was thinking, what is this like? And I was watching the video back and I couldn't understand it, but I was watching myself back in this video of myself, and I was like,
yes,
damn, like, and it's like a lot.
Honestly, I'm just so like, this is just, I'm living for it, this conversation. Like, I needed to have a conversation with you today because you had to reignite this thirst for life. It's funny that you say all this like sort of embodiment, and like with the podcast that I just mentioned, the one by Sahara Rose, she literally finished she finished the conversation with, there is power in our earth suit. What would the world be like if women were fully embodied, our own sex, our own body, our own movement? Like, period. Without fear, because I think about, literally, it's like, what would it be to really embody my natural? And I think one time a friend said it to me, because I did a performance and I didn't tell anyone, and they were like, and I said I was shy, and then they said, sometimes I get really shy about my unabashed power as well, and I was like, damn. I felt the read there, and I was like, it's true though. And it's like, I love how your friend just slipped that one in there. That's how you need to do. Be like, oh, my unabashed power, and you're like, oh dear.
Yeah, I was like, damn, it's true. And it's like, yes, and that's where I keep getting hints and prods that you need to work on your sacral energy, because when you don't, it can become imbalanced, because there are things in the ways that I seek balance of it that are sometimes unbalanced as well. There are sometimes manifestations of it that can be, like it's like that thing of overcompensating, right? When you're kind of understimulated or overstimulated in something, it's not good. And sometimes you might overstimulate the sacral, trying to balance it out, and it's like, okay, now the work is to really get to the root of what's happening there, to really
for sure
be able to find the balance of the expression and to be unabashed, but to also know how to hold that power so it doesn't become too dispersed and accessible at the same time,
One thing that I can sort of relate that to on like a physical level is like, I've been in therapy on and off for like years now, and one thing that's coming up that I realised is this idea of like emotional hygiene and emotional development.
Yes.
I, in my past, maybe in my teenage years, used work as a distraction from things that were going on. So in regards to my career, in the stars of my like sort of physical experience or material experience, people might think I'm doing bits because that's what they are seeing and that's what I have told myself. However, how is 14-year-old Sarah? How is she being kept for? How is she being nurtured so that she develops into the mature 23-year-old that she is now? And like, you're talking about chakras, but I think that was just my sort of my 2 pence with like a physical sort of manifestation of that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's that really, isn't it? And I don't really think I have much more to add on that. I feel like you just hit it on the head. You were just like, boom.
Well, I see. I just love this chat. I love the way it's going. You talked about your sacral chakra. Do you have any tips or advice on helping people uplift their sacral chakra or like making it more balanced?
Good question. The things that I'm currently working on, I have an inner child reading booked because that was recommended. I had an aura reading and it kind of identified the things that I already knew that I weren't looking at, that I was avoiding, that kind of unconscious stuff.
The one that's like peeking on your shoulders, you're like, for shadow work.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay. And then I was looking for an energy healer, and I spoke to them and they said it looks like an inner child reading would be advised for you to deal with the sacral stuff. I associated inner child with the solar plexus. That's my understanding, but apparently also the sacral. But I guess again you were saying it's all the lower chakras. Yeah. So maybe they're all interconnected in that way. I'm going to trying.
Oh, sorry, I didn't interrupt, but you just reminded me of something. We spoke about Leona Nicole Black earlier, who's an amazing tarot reader. Yes. Like, shout out to you, you're amazing. I was listening to one of her tarot therapies, and she was saying, I can't remember exactly word for word, but she was saying how on a physical level, like our like highest four chakras. So you have like, I think it's solar plexus, your heart chakra, your throat chakra, and it's not the solar plexus. Solar plexus is bottom. So these four. Yeah. Right? So these four can be fed on a physical level. These four can be... I feel like everybody who's watching the visuals are getting such a sight today. Like, I'm just here, like, touching myself like, guys, these four chakras. But let me get back into it. So basically, she was saying how, like, you have these four chakras, like, here, and you can do activities to feed those chakras, to balance those chakras. However, there's going to be deeper work necessary or / needed to feed the lower chakras, and how if you help to assist and balance those, then it will benefit all the chakras that move up. So one way of using the sound, so I mentioned the sound baths earlier, that's one way of helping a root chakra that could help with your solar plexus, that could help with your sacral, or even meditating in the earth, or using the elements to I don't know, using the elements for reflection, you know? You mentioned how air was related to birds to you, and that's helped you sort of embrace your mind, embrace your sort of throat chakra, because it's communication, isn't it? It's that translation of thought. And I find it really interesting how, like, the lower chakras are so, like, interconnected into, like, different parts of our lives, but it's not until we actually sit and really sit down with ourselves and reflect on ourselves we can see how much it influences us on, like, well, on a level. It's mad.
On a deep level. And there is something about, like, the fact that they're in the lower place. It's interesting that you said that even though they're in that the higher ones are the ones that can be activated through doing physical things, even though the ones that are considered the lower chakras and then actually manifest very like viscerally, or like very in material sense, actually need the deeper work. It's kind of like a as above so below thing though, right? So the thing in the air needs the thing on the ground, and the thing on the ground needs the thing in the air. And that's why, so a lot of subliminal, I'm working with a lot of like repatterning subliminal stuff. So I'm doing more yoni mudras, for example, and I look for specific like sacral chakra yoga practices, like core work and things. I would say subliminally my interest in pole was probably definitely linked to my lower chakras in general. I wouldn't have known that consciously at the time when I pursued it, but definitely it's been feeding into that process of healing. I also listen to frequencies. I look for like those Schumann resonance and solfeggio's frequencies that are supposed to help the sacral chakra. I ordered some waist beads as well, with some specific crystals, like citrine and
beautiful
amber or something. That's on its way.
Oh, amazing!
So I can do some kind of ritual work as well, some candle petitioning and stuff. And I've just been, for me, it's been about kind of like speaking kind of to my womb. Like I'm currently on my cycle, and I can tend to get really bad periods, especially because I had them anyway, on and off, but then, I mean, I would always have pain, but I would have, every now and then I might get it really bad that I vomit, and
Oh, bless you.
And things like that, and like so it's become more frequent since having the coil. And it's just been a journey, I think, with my menstrual cycle. And in a way, I think sometimes you have these ailments that you kind of feel like they're just always going to be there, so you don't think about doing anything about them. And hearing about the sacral unconscious process, and I think actually that was a subliminal shadow thing that I had told myself, that you can't do anything about this, and so had kind of like submitted to the pain, instead of actually being in conversation with my womb, like what do you want, what's going on. And so I'm trying to consciously speak kinder to my womb, and so far, I've still got a few days left on my cycle, but I have some discomfort, but today I haven't got pain. I've been on for a few days, and I haven't really had pain. When I have pain, I kind of start to rub my womb instead, and just kind of say like, I'm here, it's okay, like I hear you, I'm here. And that seems to be working so far. And also just doing the mudras, and obviously I need to see how it goes. It's still quite early days, but I'm gonna intentionally just build a relationship of like I think the first day I made the pact, actually, when I heard my aura reading, and I cried, and I just like laid down with my hands on my womb, and I said, I'm really sorry, I'm going to do better, like I love you, I don't hate you, I do love you, and I want to do better. And so that has been a journey in itself. I think that is going to be continual. I don't think it's an overnight
it never stops
at all, as with any healing.
And healing's not linear.
So those are big parts of it.
Honestly, like it's mad, because there is a part of me that wishes that you knew me more to realise how much I needed to hear this. Like even before this episode, when me and 1010 Josh were setting up for today, we were talking about releasing relationships, we were talking about choosing ourselves, but in a very like intimate way of like knowing what your values are and sticking by your guns. And I think it reminds me of what you said, because it's that acceptance, but also that softness to yourself, it's that niceness to yourself, it's the patience, and you know that it's going to get better, so you provide hope. This has been amazing. This has been so good.
Yeah, it really has.
Honestly, I'm gonna have a smile from here to here, and this has been so beautiful. I'm actually gonna end decoding the message here, because I honestly don't think I can add any more, my love. It's amazing. Thank you so much. This has been great. Are you excited to get a tarot reading?
I'm so excited, because I was just about to say as well, I knew this would be this, because when I pulled the cards, remember I got 3 of Cups, and when I got 3 of Cups, I was like,
oh my god, yes!
I have to agree to this.
Honestly, like, you're gonna see me, I'm gonna be like, hey, how you doing? Like, oh my god, have you seen this reading? Like, that is gonna be me. I'm gonna be like a really top fan now. But oh no, that's amazing. So reflective, and I'm just really blessed today. I'm really, really happy to be here. So I'm just burning some Palo Santo, because I want to clear this space of any unwanted energies, any self-limiting beliefs, any outdated thoughts, and I want to clear it, and I want to welcome new space, I want to welcome clarity, I want to welcome love, I want to repair all of this sort of space, and fill it with inspiration and kindness and softness and all that good warmth,
I'm just feeling into it as I'm listening to you, and just kind of getting into the mode of like receiving, I guess. I'm getting into the feminine, getting into the receptivity.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Honestly, it's lovely. Have you had a thought of what you'd like your question to be?
The question that is coming, and I hope it's not too vague.
No, it's okay.
Is, what does Spirit want to communicate with me right now? What does it want me to know right now that can only come through, that I would only receive in this channel, in this moment?
Amazing. So, what would Spirit like to communicate with me in this moment? I'm gonna shuffle these cards, and you just tell me when to stop, right? Can you see me? Okay, so
yeah, but I'm just gonna
wait.
feel for it. I'm gonna feel for it.
Of course. So, who am I to ask? Let me just shuffle. Let me shuffle. Be quiet. I'm a vessel.
Yeah.
Oh, what did you? Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna pick out. Can I have one more card for advice? How do I communicate this?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so.
I'm excited. Normally I'm scared when I see friends, you know. I'm like, oh my God, is it going to shout at me? What are they gonna, not shout at me, but like, what are they going to school me on that I haven't been listening on? Because I used to have a nickname Hard Ears when I was little. So I was like, what are they going to tell this Hard Ears person?
No, Spirit is so proud of you. Like, Spirit is showering you with abundance. They're showering you with fertility, and they're showering you with creativity. Do you know why I say that? You got the Empress.
Oh!
You got the Empress as the first card, and this is number 3. It's the 4th card of the major arcana, but it's numbered number 3. And the Empress is known for her divine feminine energy. She's known for her abundance. She's known for being all-encompassing. She's abstract, she's creative, she's direct, and she's nurturing. She's an individual who protects, who heals, who cares, who mothers, whether it's mothering for herself or mothering for others. She's sort of like, I like this image because there's just, can you see? I like this image because there's just so much going on. I'm using the Rider-Waite deck. And the one thing that I'm drawn to is this river at the back. You see like a river go behind her and then come right to the front. And that's like the free flow of emotions that's guiding you to your inner compass, you know? If I'm an Empress and I'm sitting on my throne, I'm royal, I'm regal, I'm a baddie, you know? But I'm also embracing parts of me with no restrictions. And that's why water is so interlinked with the divine feminine or feminine energy. Even all the nature in this card, it's opportunity. I think I said this in the DMC. It's an opportunity to feed with the nutrients, adapt the soil, see how this thing grows, you know? And in contrast with water, you just sort of accept the change and the flow. I like this card as well because it's just so flamboyant. It's so regal. She's sitting on like so many pillows, and she's got a stone next to her that's in the shape of a heart, right?
Me sitting on pillows with my blanket and my stones. But Venus ruled.
Oh my God. Honestly, like, this reading is just so loud. You've got this I don't know which camera to show it to you. Can you see this camera?
Yeah.
So you see this heart here?
Yeah.
It's grey because it's neutral. It's grey because it's like a state of conscious. But because she has the feminine symbol in this heart-shaped conscious, it means that their innate self-belief that's given to them from their that's given to them by encompassing your feminine attributes, by encompassing your delicate features, encompassing sort of your adaptability. You're able to.
That's another message that's been coming through a lot for me. Adaptability.
But do you know why I see it? Because you got the 3 of Swords in reverse next. And the 3 of Swords is another heart image. And in this image, it's raining. You said before, as above, so below. And rain is sort of rain is an example of something that can connect us to the higher powers. You know? The clouds around the heart may suggest foggy thoughts, or clouded judgment, or like a foggy perspective. But because it's in reversed, it suggests that someone is using the information of the intellect to move forward, to push through, you know? I think the Three of Swords, it's a card that some people might be intimidated of because it's a heart-piercing pain, or it's a heart-striking pain. But when you realise that room of pain, or that space that you shared the pain in, that space that you shared that heartbreak or that devastation in, can now be filled in with love and rejuvenation and sort of... Ooh, it's getting into it. I think the Three of Swords sort of stands for like hope and faith, and using your intellect, using that sort of the abstract number of, oh my god, I just realised double 3 as well. You got 2 3s here. So this is a period of it's like your foundation, yeah, but it's also like an abstract foundation. It's also like it's willingness to adapt, a willingness to sort of move. Like, is it good here? Am I bad here? Like, what do I like? And that's the power of 3. It's sort of, it's a trifecta, isn't it? I want to get one more card. I've got these gorgeous... Oh my god,
the fact that you said that word as well. Oh my god, you're good. The fact that you used that word, you don't know how mad that is. I don't even know if I can say it on camera. Like, I can't, like...
Oh, really?
But a lot of these things are very, like... Yeah, it's a lot. I'll tell you off camera if you have time how much this resonates and why. Like, because I like to explain. Like, I read for people as well, and for me, it's helpful when people let me know like this resonated and this is why it resonated. So I like to be able to also impart that wisdom to support you in honing your intuition and trusting yourself as a vessel.
No, it makes me feel so much like. I honestly appreciate that so much, because I think with tarot there's so much to it. It's so subjective. So I think like now I feel more affirmed, but like I know in my earlier stages I'd be like, oh wait, what about this? What did I miss that out? Did I miss? Of course you're gonna miss stuff out. It's bloody tarot. It's like a dictionary. Yeah. It's a dictionary. Yeah. Everybody has a different meaning. Everybody's interpretation is different, and it's sort of like you said, honing your intuition. I want to also use this deck. This is. Have you ever heard of Pink Cat Daily?
Who?
Pink Cat Daily. So they've got a comic book on Instagram where they post like memes, and they're amazing. I definitely recommend. They're Muslim, they're in America, and honestly,
Pink Cat, sorry, Pink Cat Daily, I do follow them.
Yeah, so I've got some tarot cards from them, and I absolutely love them, because the thing is, if you follow Pink Cat doesn't chat shit. She's so direct, she's so forward, and she's so like we're gonna get this bag, but also look after yourself. But like, she's just really forward thinking. So I want to get a card to clarify this message. So please can I have a card, Spirit? Ooh, wait, what one dropped? Tower. The Tower.
Ooh. Did you have one more from the Rider-Waite as well? Was there a third one?
Yeah. At the bottom of the deck was the Lovers. Oh wait, can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
And I think, like, to be fair, there is a part of me that wants to ask Spirit if this is projection, the Tower card, just because I've been getting it a lot recently. However, I also think that with the Tower, it stands for anything made on a shaky foundation will come down. So you need to make sure that your foundation is secure. These individuals from the Tower, are they falling or are they flying? Is it a breakdown or is it a breakthrough? And using sort of the adaptability of knowing what works for you, making the choices for healing that will most benefit you is going to help you overcome this trial and tribulation. The Lovers was at the bottom of the deck, right? And when something, I see it as the bottom of the deck, that's like a past energy, innit? That's like a past energy trying to like translate through, trying to push through into your reading. And the Lovers stands for duality, and it stands for choices, and it stands for beliefs and values. So What was your question? Your question was like, what do I need to know right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one of the first things that we got was this is the sign that you were waiting for. So I want to bring that up because if there's anything that you've been sitting on, I think it's a go ahead from spirit to do it. Maybe you're working with others because 3 is a number for like group activity. Whenever I think of 3, I think of like the 3 of Pentacles, or I think of like even the 3 of Cups. The 3 of Cups is a card that brought me and Danielle together, you know? So what do I need to know right now to embrace your feminine attributes by delving in your creativity, feeding yourself up? So the Tower is the 16th card in the deck. You've got the Lovers, which is number 6, and you've got the 3 of Swords and the 3 Empress. So I'm seeing this, sorry, I keep on going back and forth, but the 3 of Swords is to do with your mind, it's to do with your intellect. How are your thoughts manifesting into your world? Maybe it's using, you said earlier how you've been sort of enhancing your throat chakra and sort of like not celebrating, but like you've just been strengthening it, really. This is a time for speaking your truth, but also, I think just, not just choosing yourself, but celebrating yourself. That's what I'm getting this reading for. Because from our DMC as well, this is the sign that you asked for, you know? You have permission to be your whole self. You have permission to be the Empress that you are. Because the Tower will remind you of what's important. So does the Lovers. It's alignment of values. It's alignment of foundation. How does that feel for you?
There's a lot of air as well in this reading. I
so
just
much air.
Like Lovers, Gemini. Then you've got Empress is Venus, but I feel like it's associated more with Libra than it is Taurus.
Yeah,
and then
no, you're right.
The 3 of Swords as well. Another air sign. I don't know what Taro's correspondence is. Is that, I can't remember the maybe that's a fire sign.
To be fair, I actually just realised something really beautiful with this card is that the Tower on top of, I'll let you zoom in actually, in the Tower, in the Pink Cat deck, there's a moon at the top of the Tower, but it's like a rainbow is coming out of the Tower and going into the pool of water. I'll see if I can, did you skip that? If you can have a look, you see how there's a rainbow coming down and then it's in back into the pool. So it's like sort of feeding yourself up again. Because if you think, you've got it sort of mimicking on both sides. You've got the Empress where it's coming behind her and going to her front. But then you've got the Tower when it's coming from the moon to down. As above, so below.
Yeah. There's also what you said there's something about me for that card of like the crumbling of illusion. With
because
the Tower. Just with the moon there.
Because the moon is your inner world. The moon is introspection, sort of following your own path. And the fact that the moon is sort of providing the pathway to the rainbow, providing that sort of space to delve back into your emotions. I think it's following the right path.
That felt very affirming, that reading. Very affirming. There's something, the whole, I think the overall take that I got from it is about staying in your integrity and in your truth. And what you've said, standing true and strong in what you've said. Because even though sometimes it can rub people off the wrong way, it can cause conflict, it can cause disharmony, but it allows for realignment of values actually, and it allows for stronger foundations. Things have to fall to make room for things that are stronger. And in the specific, some of the specific things that is pertaining to in my life that I can identify this to relate to, it's like you have to let this thing crumble, this existing system crumble, to make room for something better to emerge. And it can feel destructive, it can feel very hurtful for people that are not anticipating it, or the sharpness or the bluntness of the swords in the air, right? The intellect, it can be hitting, it can cause a lot of hitting and harm, but it's actually imperative. It's imperative for stepping in your own truth and your own power, and also for the bettering of alignment of values with people, actually, for better relationships.
And I like how you said relationships, the lovers, it's like this queen, this empress is very comfortable being independent and sitting on their own, but that's also because she nurtures herself before it's like my cup runneth over, isn't it? It's like I'm going to give my excess to others because I know that cycle will mean that my needs are always met. And so that's what you learn if you come across the Tower or the Lovers, because it's an alignment of values. It's what you're going to stand for and what you're not. But there's a lot of hope, and there's a lot of it's like, how sometimes there's like darkness, or like there's sometimes like worry or eeriness in going things alone. This person doesn't mind. This person doesn't matter. This person knows that they're an empress and they're just sitting on their chair. They're waiting for the things to come to them,
That was another little prompt that has come around a lot. I'm actually in a personal, I don't know if you know about numerology, but I'm in a personal 1 year.
Okay.
And it also links to a reading that it's important for me to allow things to come to me, allow opportunities to come to me, allow invitations, but also and also to be able to set up independently. And independence is very important for me. It's just part of my character, but also not at the expense of relationships and being able to delegate and collaborate.
Oh my God, yeah, I think that's it. That was honestly like such beautiful reading. Oh my God, I'm kind of shook.
That was powerful. That was really powerful.
It was very, very powerful.
Thank
very
you,
powerful.
Spirit. Thank you so much. Let me just add some water to my altar.
No, please do. Like, this is, oh my God, honestly, you've given me so much like hope and so much like confidence in choosing myself. Like throughout this conversation, but also throughout this reading, because it's like nothing in this life is coincidence. Do you know what I mean? Like everything, we were brought to each other. It's that timeline. I think as well, you talked about numerology. I think I might be number 5.
As in your year is 5, or the year you're in now is 5, or
my life path number.
Your number, personal number.
My path number, like my life path number. I just realised, like, if you're not a spiritual person, this might sound like so random to you, but basically everybody has a number in their life. And I think mine is 5, and that's like the ability to adapt and change and shift. A bit like a chameleon.
Yeah, independence as well. And it explains why you have so much Aries in your...
Oh.
The thing I love about all these concepts and these systems is that I'm very interested in, if I ever do a PhD, it probably would be on that. I'm not supposed to, I feel like, do you know what? Anything that I'm meant to say, will say it, and anyone that plagiarizes anything, they can copy, but it won't be the same as what I'm doing, so I can say it's fine.
You have the source, you are the voice.
Because sometimes I read things all the time that say don't speak things before you do them, and this, that, but I'm like, you know what? This particular thing is not that deep, and if someone does want to do it before me, let them. If anything, that will help it for when I'm time to do it. It will make my job easier. Do you know what I mean? So, whatever.
Thank you
if I
so
ever
much.
If I ever do a PhD one day, it probably or might be around systems of these different ways of understanding self and how they link together. So like numerology, astrology, because as soon as you said the life path 5, I was like, but all those Aries placements, Aries being the sign of independence, like leadership, everything. So for you to be 5, change as well, spontaneity, it loves spontaneity, adventure, that's 5 energy. So for that to be, if that's really your number, and then you've got all that energy of Aries, it makes it syncs up well. It makes a lot of sense.
Honestly, this has been a glorious reading. Thank you so much. I think we should take it to our last segment. which is
Yes.
the direct message. The direct message is a little take-home message for listeners. And yeah, what would you like to leave listeners with, Danielle?
Oof. Okay, tap into self. Like, tap into what is your inner wisdom, your inner knowledge. What is your nervous system? What is your gut telling you? What is it trying to say to you? What is it trying to communicate through spirit, through signs? You know, when you're not listening to inside, when is it sending you signs and synchronicities? That's my message. That's the take home, I think. Listen to the song deep in my heart. Exactly. Listen to the song in your heart. Listen to it.
No, mate. Exactly what you said. I think my direct message, to reaffirm what you said, I want to really want everyone to take a look at their internal GPS, into their internal clock that can motivate them to do the things that they want, to make them stand in their boundaries, to make them take no shit. Like, you're here for a reason. You're divine for a reason. Use it. That's my direct message. Oh my God, Danielle! This is like, I feel like we've just launched into a whole new virtual high five. I feel like we've just launched into a whole new sort of phase of DM talks, or like, because this shit, you can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up. Energy never lies. Oh, amazing. Oh, beautiful. Honestly, it's such a great episode. Please could you let listeners know where they can find you, what your socials are, because I'm sure everybody wants to get involved.
Yeah, so if you want to hit me up on Instagram, you can find me on This Is Dream Roots. That is my open platform, keeping up with my happenings. I will have a website up and running in the next few months, and I'll be seeing clients in May, in case there's anyone who's like, oh, she sounds like she could be my counsellor, my therapist. I am a therapist, so hit me up in May.
Honestly, honestly, I just know that you're going to be so amazing, because if this is like, we've been talking for what, like an hour and a half or so. Just imagine having therapy with you. Beauty. Amazing. Honestly. You're changing the world. Thank you so much for coming onto this podcast. And thank you so much for everyone listening. I know we had a bit of a break during lockdown 3.0, but you know, like, it is what it is. That's all the good stuff. You can find the podcast on all podcast streaming platforms. But you can also find us on Goodgood_media on Instagram. You can find us on dm.talks on Instagram. Rate us on Apple Podcasts, because you know we're sick. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I have to say. I don't think so. But I had a great episode. I've been your host, Sarah DM. And yeah, thanks so much for listening. I shall see you guys on the flip side. Peace. Bye.